Torej, kot obljubljeno smo se predstavili tokrat v kavarno, tako kot se spodobi za dopoldne, zato da si lahko tudi privoščite croissane in seveda čaje oziroma kave. Kot obljubljeno pa je znova obmejni režiser pričujočega filma Šus v glavo, so the director of the movie Blast we just saw. The first thing I can ask you, you said to me before the screening that you're used of going to the festivals, that this is one of the last festivals you will travel with this movie, and it's kind of an anniversary.
The film was first screened in 2014 in Locarno in August. So it's quite a bit after a year. Usually we try to stop, with the film. So it's after a year, so it's like that. So it's actually one of the last festivals I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna follow a Blast. Yeah.
Torej, v Locarno je bila premiera, po enem letu je običajno pauza, potem, ko se film distribuira oziroma ko hodi po festivalih, in da na ta način je tudi sam mislil, da je pravzaprav že zaključil s potovanjem. Predtem je dejal, mislim, da je to 50. festival že, na katerem je s filmom. What can we say about this is also, I think, the third screening here in Slovenia, or the second screening in Slovenia. How did you actually, when you travel to the different countries, what did you saw? Are there any differences how the film is accepted in different countries, let's say in the Western Europe, outside of Europe?
Well, no, this is a film, I think, that very much depends. It's a controversial film, a Blast, wherever it screens, and it's a film that I think depends very much on the perception of the main character. I think that everywhere there are people who like this woman and people who actually don't like this woman at all. So I think that this is something that always plays out. Then in certain places like America, for example, there is a strange focus on the sexuality of the film that was surprising.
Torej, kontroverzen film, v katerem je pravzaprav tista glavna igralka, s katero se večina obiskovalcev oziroma gledalcev poistoveti, ali vam je všeč ali vam ni všeč, odvisno od vsake države. V Združenih državah Amerike je pa predvsem eksplicitna seksualnost tista, ki je pritegnila glavno pozornost. Yeah, you said to me before the screening that it's kind of early.
Yeah, 11 o'clock screening, I don't know, for a Blast, I think it's a bit early. Yeah.
Dobro, toliko, kar se tiče zgodnje ure. Any question? Don't be shy if you have any question or critique for the movie.
We can talk about anything, so just go ahead, now that I'm here.
Okay.
We'll continue a bit.
We'll continue, and if you have a question, of course, you just point it out. Also about the situation, it's Greek, the movies from Greece recently, we kind of expect them to have the topic at least about the migrant crisis or about the economical situation, and we saw actually both of the topics covered here. Is this such a huge, mainly the economical, migrant was a bit with the Kostas and his political statements, but also, is it somehow expected to be like that when you see a movie from Greece in 2014, 2015, that you expect the economical crisis topic?
Well, I think that the main thing about the crisis, I think, okay, there can be, movies with other topics or not, but the thing is that it's part of the stories of people. I mean, we don't make movies in limbo. The films, for example, in the last decade, where Greece has experienced a kind of a free fall, this free fall was translated, went on like intoxication to the family life, to the personal life of all people that at least I know. And so it's a bit, I think there's no way to kind of, go around the subject. It's a very dominant part of people's lives. So I think that it's actually this experience of the downfall and of the disillusion that sort of I focused in, and this is not something that has to do, I think, only with Greece. In Greece, you can see it in a certain extreme because of the political events, but I think this is a universal subject. The experience of disillusion and downfall is something that we all, one way or another, growing older, we share. Now, as far as the migrant thing that you said, it's not the refugee crisis happened after the film. This has to. It's not really a topic of the film. But it's part of, let's say, of the neo-fascist mentality of envy, that as let's say, the middle class was pushed to become poorer and poorer, this mentality was getting stronger and stronger. So it's part of that.
Torej, v filmih običajno ponazarjamo zgodbe ljudi in v zadnjem desetletju je enostavno težko ubežati temu onesnaženju osebnih življenj in pravzaprav ni načina, kako se izogniti ekonomski krizi, ki je seveda zajela ne samo Grčijo, ampak celotno Evropo. Padec sistema je predvsem se osredotočil na to izgubo iluzije pri vsakem posamezniku in gre za nekakšno univerzalno temo, ki se torej ne dogaja le v Grčiji. Kar se migrantske krize pa pravzaprav begunci so se zgodili po filmu in del te neofašistične miselnosti, ki pa je seveda vsebovana v filmu, je pa del tega, da je grški srednji sloj s tem, ko je postajal vedno revnejši, postajal tudi vedno bolj privržen tovrstnim idejam. What can we say about I think a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I did the interview also with the director from Greece, and she said to me that there's a lack of funding, that there's no money from the Greece Film Foundation to be spent on movies. You did a great movie 4 years ago, now it's 5 years ago. Did you have any benefits from that? Was it easier to you to get the funding? And how is it in Greece now to be a director to do the movies?
Well, okay, we can go about this drama. I don't know how interesting it is for people, but sometimes, I think, to say it briefly, there is a feeling of quicksand when it comes to funding in Greece, which is normal when you have a country that has this kind of tremendous crisis. A Blast was a film that was stabilized by co-production, and through the participation of, let's say, Germany, Holland, and other countries in the production. So this way we managed to sort of stabilize the film. But there is this experience, let's say, of quicksand, that it's quite sometimes close to the characters that you saw in the film, that you never know when something, terrible will occur and destabilize the production. So I think we share that with the characters.
Ja, torej podobna situacija kot s karakterji oziroma z liki v filmu je tudi v grškem filmu in nikoli ne veš, da te bo živi pesek posrkal in je film pravzaprav stabilno financiranje dobil šele s pomočjo in produkcijo iz Nemčije in Nizozemske. Maybe any question?
Yes. Did any such terrible events happen in the filming of this? Were there crises?
Sorry, I don't understand.
You said there's always the possibility of a terrible crisis coming up in the production. Did anything like that happen?
Well, we did. Actually, we did. Would you like to translate? Maybe. Yeah.
I will do it later.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, we did this. Actually, 1 month before we started shooting the movie, the Prime Minister Samaras, not this one, the previous one, he shut down the Greek national television, and overnight. So suddenly, 3 of the major, let's say, the films that were about to start shooting or already had shot were left like, boom, suddenly with a hole in their budget that they have to sort of cover from elsewhere. Yeah, this is an example I can give you of real panic 1 month before the production. That was political. No one, you couldn't do anything about it. You were just there powerless.
Torej, ja, če je bila kakšna taka kritična situacija v sklopu same produkcije in snemanja filma, pravi, da je bila pravzaprav mesec pred začetkom snemanja filma je tedanji premijer Samaras pravzaprav ukinil nacionalno televizijo, kar pomeni, da so tisti 3 filmi, ki so bili v nastanku, so nastajali ali so bili v zadnji fazi priprave, nekako ostali v luknji in na ta način pravzaprav je bila kriza prisotna tudi pri samem snemanju filma.
And it was with huge effort from all the producers and the co-producers that we managed to actually go shooting as we had planned.
Ja, z izjemno pomočjo koproducentov in producentov je pravzaprav sploh prišlo do tega, da se lahko začeli snemati film. Thank you for the question. Še kakšno vprašanje? Any other question?
Come on, just start a topic so that we talk.
Yeah. Izvolite.
Thank you for a good film. From today's perspective, I would like to ask you if you see Greeks as individuals on the same footing as refugees, because being squeezed by the elites, remaining without soul, without love, which turned out to be pornography, and without any promising direction where to go and what to do on individual basis to come to the better.
Yeah.
How do you see, linked to today's situation we are seeing in Europe, with the previous one of Greece?
I like very much the description that you do of a kind of a life that is without a compass, that you don't know which way to direct yourself in order to find a certain prosper living for yourself, not only in money terms, but also in personal terms. There is a kind of a feeling of people being lost as they get squeezed in this, how do you say, impoverishment of the middle class that happens everywhere. Not only in Greece, this is something that happens everywhere. Middle class is getting poorer and poorer. I think that I don't know about the comparison with the migrants. I think it's something else. It's a different issue. Yeah, that's another. I think it's another topic in a way. There might be some parallel things, but I think it's mainly. I think the problems are different, much different. But when we talk about, let's say, what was in the film, the story of this middle-class family going down to its knees, I think the feeling of being lost is totally there. But at the same time, what I find interesting in the character of Maria is that she's a very confrontational character when it comes to these problems. She's a person that speaks her mind a lot, manages to articulate what's going on, and also take action on that, even if that action is wrong or politically incorrect or self-inflicting even. However, it's something I like very much in here.
Ja, torej, kar se same povezave tiče med begunsko krizo in grško krizo, oziroma med samim filmom Pravi življenje brez kompasa, in ta povezava je bila izjemno dobra. Kam se obrni do boljšega življenja, tako kar se tiče financ, kot tudi seveda osebnega življenja. Pravi, da so ljudje seveda izgubljeni z revščino srednjega sloja, da se to dogaja povsod in da je ta primerjava z migranti mora biti druga tema, so vzporednice, ampak težave nekoliko drugačne. V filmu smo videli seveda družino srednjega sloja, kako se je padla na kolena, izgubila vse. Občutek izgubljenosti je bil prisoten, Marija pa je tisti karakter, ki se je vselej spopadla s težavami in poizkušala aktivirati ter se jih lotiti, tudi če je bila rešitev, mora biti včasih neustrezna in samouničujoča. Hvala za vprašanje. Izvolite.
What extent is the film as it is now the same as the one you had in mind before you started shooting?
To a very, very big extent. I think very close to actually. Yeah, the film was scripted in this kind of what we tried when you want to talk about disillusion in a way. We decided to script the film in this structure where the past and the present and the potential of a future juxtapose each other all the time. So I think we managed to do this. I'm very happy with the result. This is the one part that I'm going to talk to you about the challenges of the film, because this is related to your question. The one challenge was that, like, to create this kind of juxtaposition and finally a portrait of this woman through these bits and pieces that construct her life, like walking on the street and suddenly you have a memory, and then you have a will to go somewhere, and all this kind of, sometimes it's not fluent in a way, is actually dramatic. This is the one part. The other thing is that was a challenge for us, that was a goal in the film, was not to narrow down this woman into our own experience, but we had to enlarge ourselves in a way to find her. And this was a bet that we had with Angeliki Papoulia, who plays Maria, the actress, that we really wanted to to push our experience, to push our understanding, to enlarge ourselves in a way to find this woman and not narrow her down, to keep her edgy, vulnerable, intimate, and very confrontational at the same time. This was hard. It was hard to balance all that and create this woman. Yeah. So to this, as far as I'm very happy with those things. Plus, and the last thing, sorry, I speak a lot. The last thing is that I'm really happy in the frame of we were saying before that we managed to do the tunnel sequence with the cars. Because I really believe that I'm bored of films that have only existential situations inside. I need some action. So it was really good that we managed to make this sequence.
Torej, na vprašanje, če je film uresničil vse tista predvidevanja in želje, ki jih je imel pred samim snemanjem, pravi, da ja, da so seveda veliko delali na samem scenariju, na tem, kako izgubiti pravzaprav celotno iluzijo, ki je pri igralki prisotna, kako prepletati preteklost, sedanjost in pa potencialno prihodnost, kako se pravzaprav vsi ti trije časi vse čas stikajo in misli, da jim je to uspelo odlično, da je vesel seveda tega. Pravi, da je bil to prvi izziv, torej nekako pozicijo portreta ženske skozi vse te tri različne stopnje, nekako preplest, ker seveda te stopnje niso kronološke, niti niso bile izjemno tekoče, ampak so se vse čas prepletale. Druga je bila pa pravzaprav cilj, ki so ga imeli, in sicer, da to ne gre le za njeno izkušnjo, ampak da gre za nekakšno posebitev vsakega gledalca z enim širšim problemom, in kot pravi sam, je seveda tudi izjemno vesel za sekvenco s tunelom, ker je v te eksistencialne tematike dodal tudi malo akcije.
Good.
Another question?
Yeah.
One other thing. Maria was so strong. She was physically strong. And then, after all the yelling that went through in the movie, when she was talking at the women's group, she seemed so clear and like going in a new direction. And yet, at the end, she seemed to lose that and was just hysterically running away. I mean, that was the one thing that I found a little
that's
disappointing,
interesting.
maybe.
Yeah. Well, I think that, it's not running away in that sense. And for sure it's not, I wouldn't put the adjective. I think that Maria confronts really crazy sometimes, hysterical, like a bully even. She becomes even a bully in certain scenes of the film. She's a very aggressive person. But I think that after a point, she becomes very, very conscious, very articulate. And I think sometimes that gender has to do with the occurrence of the adjective hysterical. And it's really hard, and I'm saying that because I think that she's hysterically funny in certain scenes with her sisters, but I don't think she's hysterical when she confronts. I think she's just confronting. Still at the end, I think that it's not to me, okay, there is an escape feeling in a way, but to me personally, the way I see it, it's very open. Everyone sees it the way he wants. But to me, the new thing that happens in her life it has to do with her breaking all the bonds, that the love bonds, the family bonds, the money bonds, the father's hometown bonds that is on fire. It's all cut down. This is a very, I don't know, it's a very strange situation to be in. And personally, it's also for me a question mark. What happens to this woman after that? But I kind of admire that she manages to do that. It's impossible. Yeah, so up to there.
Torej na vprašanje, pravzaprav, kako je delovala Marija izjemno močna ob tistem pogovoru v skupini, potem pa znova histerična na koncu, pravi, da ne beži na koncu stran od tega v tem smislu, ampak da je pravzaprav Marija ves čas bila tista, ki se je zoperstavljala, da je bila izjemno agresivna, včasih tudi izjemno težka in da skozi čas počasi prihaja do tega, da je vedno bolj artikulirana. Seveda pa je zanimivo povezal besedo histerija s samim spolom, pravi, da je seveda pri ženskah to dostikrat povezano z zabavo in da je izjemno zabavno histerična v vsem svojem odnosu, recimo sestro, da se ves čas zoperstavlja, na koncu pa dobi ta občutek pobega. Sam pravi, da seveda razlago konca prepušča vsakemu gledalcu, ampak on si ga je razlagal na ta način, da niti sam ne ve, kaj se s to igralko zgodi, je pa seveda izjemno spoštovanje in to je ukazal s tem, da pravi, da je bila sposobna iti čez vse to, da je bila sposobna prekiniti in dejansko uničiti vse vezi, tako njene kot njene družine z vso preteklostjo.
Well, it's a bit, it's a bit like Medea, when she kills her children, nothing else can happen. Just a flying thing from the sun comes and takes her. It's a question. In real life stories that we researched, usually it takes 30 years for people to regain contact after they do that.
Ja, toliko torej tudi, kar se tiče same primerjave z Medejo in z njenim umorom otrok. Pravi, da so tudi sami raziskovali in po nekem researchu, po neki raziskavi ugotovili, da po takem dejanju človek rabi 30 let, da se znova postavi na, recimo, temu realna tla. Thank you for the question.
Did you do any research, because you say now very specifically,
Yeah.
according to research, 30 years?
Yeah. Well, we were dealing with the subject that we had to search a bit, but because there are many stories like that women leave the household and don't raise their children and they're somewhere away. So we found we made some research there, and usually it's a these are very bitter stories in a way, in the way they evolve, and we noticed that actually it takes many years, really many years, to reestablish a kind of contact after that. And I'm not talking about adoptions now and these stories. I'm talking about abandonment, which is it's another issue.
Ja, torej, raziskovali so, da je veliko takih zgodb, seveda, da ko ženske recimo zapustijo gospodinjstva, ko ne skrbijo več za otroke, gre seveda za grenke zgodbe, ampak ob takih primerih potrebujejo res veliko časa za znova vzpostavitev stikov.
Usually the problem is the conscious choice and the will on both sides, that there is will in the act.
Ja, torej problem zavestna odločitev in želja pri samem dejanju.
With the film is really around Maria. Maria was first, in other words, but can you imagine a film like this with a male lead character being hysterically male? And
Hysterically male?
Can you imagine a similar story where
with a man?
A father figure would make a similar rupture?
It could be. It could be. It could be, but I think that the story with a man would be less socially challenging for many reasons. And
you never considered it as an option?
No. This was from the start. It was a female character. The first thing we ever wrote for the film with Yula Budali that we write together was the monologue that she says in the women's group. I mean, it's really the first thing that we wrote. We wrote this monologue for a woman, and then we went on to construct the whole thing. Because when we wrote it, we felt that we had in our hands, a character that is, edgy, politically incorrect enough, intriguing enough, challenging enough that we didn't know. That would be interesting for us to spend 3 years of our lives investigating this woman. And to me, it was a very conscious choice because I've also lately I've been reading a lot of Doris Lessing novels. I really wanted to make a feminist film, like a seriously feminist film. So that was very conscious.
Torej na vprašanje, kakšen bi bil film, če bi šlo seveda za moško histerijo, pravi, da bi bil to najbrž, da predvsem manj socialno zahteven problem, da nikoli ni bila niti opcija, da prva stvar, ki so jo zapisali v scenarij, je bil ta monolog, ki smo ga slišali strani Marije v skupini in da je potem konstrukt scenarija zrastel na njem, ob zapisovanju pa so seveda razmišljali o tem, kakšen glavni karakter bi jim lahko vzel 3 leta časa oziroma so se pripravljeni z njim dolgo časa spopadati. Veliko je bral seveda Doris Lessing v zadnjem obdobju in je pravzaprav hotel narediti tak feministični film. Any other question? Še kakšno vprašanje?
Topic or anything?
Okay. To je vaša zadnja priložnost. Okay.
Last chance.
I can ask you, do you work on the next project? You said that this is one of the last things that you travel with the movie and that of course you came because you wanted to come, but do you work on the next project already? You have a script or the monologue for the next thing?
Definitely. We're doing the next film that hopefully we'll shoot next year. It's called The Miracle of the Sargasso Sea, and it's going to be, if this year was Purgatory, we're going to do Paradise. And it's a very, how do you say, it's a crime film with horror and surrealist undertones.
Kriminalka s hororjem in z surrealističnimi podtoni nas čaka, torej dela nov film, kot pravi, naslednje leto pričakuje snemanje in lahko pričakujemo malo bolj paradiž. Toliko torej, kar se tiče vprašanj, še kakšno se je porodilo vmes? Potem pa mislim, da lahko samo še enkrat z aplavzom nagradimo našega današnjega gosta in se mu zahvalimo.
Thank you.
In seveda povabilo, da še majčkeno obsedite in uživate v naši družbi in pa seveda, če imate še kakšno vprašanje za Silesa, mu ga lahko tudi neformalno še zastavite. Hvala.
Okay, thank you.